Hi, I'm Riley Grisoulis, and today I'm going to be talking about how to groom an Australian Shepherd. I will be doing a demonstration. This is my partner today. His name is Buck. He's in very much so need of a good grooming. So, first off, let's start off by who has ever groomed a dog before? Is this new to anybody? Has anybody done this at all before? What kind of dogs do you have at home? All right, and so now, some people may already know what grooming is because they have done it before, but some people do not know what it is. So, grooming is actually a health and hygiene practice that's going to include bathing your dog, brushing your dog, nail trimming, ear cleaning, dental care, and all of these things are just in order to make sure that your dog is as comfortable, clean, and happy as they can be. As you can see, Buck right here. All right, so some things that we are going to need. I'm going to be using a actual electric slicker brush today. So it's connected to a vacuum. So while I brush, I'm able to just send the hair into this compartment here. But just a regular manual slicker brush works just as well. Then we're going to have an undercoat rake. Then we will have a pin brush, which is just like a traditional type of hairbrush, as well as a curry comb. This just helps to break down the hair that's built up underneath, as well as some nail trimmers. And I have another attachment that connects to this that is going to help us to clean up his paw pads. All right, some people also use a metal comb, but I do not have one today. So before we get the grooming process actually started, some things to note about Australian Shepherds and their coats is, first off, they're a double-coated breed, meaning that they have two coats, right? So they're also at a medium hair length. So as you can see here, Buck's got quite a bit of hair on him. All right, so you can also do trimming around their ears, their feet, their tail, and their private areas for hygienic reasons. But because they are double-coated dogs, this obviously means they have two types of hair, two types of coats. So they are on different growing cycles. So they have their outer guard hairs, which you can pretty much see here whenever I'm lifting up the hair. These are all the outer guard hairs, right? And they also serve to protect the undercoat as well as provide structure to their coat. Okay, they also grow very slowly. So when we talk about trimming and grooming dogs, a double-coated dog like this, you want to be very careful about how you are trimming and taking care of their coat, because their outer guard hairs are very slow growing, so it would take quite a lot of time to grow all of those hairs back if they were to even grow back fully like they originally were. So their second coat is their undercoat, and their undercoat grows in and falls out very quickly because this is the coat that they're using to adapt to the different seasons and weather changes. So it is always growing in or falling out. If you have an Australian Shepherd, you know this to be a complete fact. All right, and their undercoat layer is what we are mainly focusing on to remove for while we are grooming. All right, so whenever we are brushing our dogs, all right, if we are going with the hair, so if the hair growth is growing down his back, if we were to be brushing with the hair, this is going to allow us to remove the majority of that loose hair. But if we were to brush against the fur, all right, so if you're brushing upward motion, that is going to help pull out the dead hair that might be trapped in that deep undercoat. All right, so whenever you are combing other areas, so sensitive areas, so around the rump, around their ears, and even the feathers on their legs, you want to make sure that you're using a fine-tooth comb because they tend to get matted behind their ears just because of the length of hair in the area, and dogs often scratch in that area as well. So you just want to make sure to give those areas extra attention. And when I say feathers, I'm going to need Buck to cooperate with me today. When I say feathers, if he will help me out, you can see here on his leg, these hairs that are kind of sticking out a little bit odd, so they're not clinging to his leg. this is what we would consider his feathers. So these are what you want to be extra careful. Make sure that you're combing through even while you're doing your grooming. All right, and then of course we are going to, towards the end of our service, use our little shaver and trim around his paw pads. This is just going to reduce painful mats that he can get, as well as reduce the amount of things that are going to be able to cling to his paw pads. So whether that be dirt, mud, rocks, if you live in an area that snows, it could be snow as well. This is just to also help them to have better traction while they are trying to get around. Okay, so this is just in order to reduce risk. All right, so with no further to be said, I'm going to start with the grooming process. All right, so with my electric vacuum here, I do have a few different settings that I'm able to do strength and vacuum wise, but it does tend to get a little bit loud. I might even speed this part up. So we're starting with our slicker brush and going with the fur. As you can see, we have hair gathered around here. I'm able to click this button and it will just retract all of that hair into the back. Again, this is not necessary. You can have a manual slicker brush that works just as well. But for the amount of hair that comes off of an Australian Shepherd, this is very helpful in keeping us clean. As you can tell, this shouldn't be a stressful process for your dog. This should be something that you get them comfortable with when they're young, so that it is not difficult to do. This is something, especially with double-coated dogs, that you should do quite often, just because the growth rate of that undercoat. Because of the purpose of this video today, I will not be doing the entire grooming in the 10 minutes, because it will definitely take longer than that. But for this side of Buck, we're going to continue. We're going to consider that good for our slicker brush. Then we would be moving in with our undercoat rake. You can also use your slicker brush and, like I mentioned, go against the fur pattern, growth pattern, in order to release the things from underneath. Okay, so if we were to take our curry comb, kind of brush it around, a lot of people use this just to break up the things that are underneath in that undercoat. So as you see, you might see some hair flying off of Buck. All right, so that kind of breaks things up. Then you're able to go in with this undercoat rake. All right, and this is just going to pull everything right out of them. As you can see, very fast, flying away. All right, and of course, this is a much longer process, but again, because of the purpose of this video, I'm going to move through it pretty quickly because of the demonstration. So that is our undercoat rake. We have now used our curry comb, our slicker brush, and our undercoat rake. Now we would be going in with our trimmer. So with the shaver that I have here, I'm able to attach it to this vacuum. Then I'm able to just go in and shave around his paw pads to just make sure that he's as comfortable as possible. All right, so once I have finished trimming up his paw pad area, which I will put a picture in of what that should look like, then gonna go in with my nail trimmers. So these have a safety on them, as you can see right here. So if you just push on them, you can release the safety, open it up. All right, it also, if you can see in the center area, has a little guard right here, and that's just so you don't go too far, because your dog can get hurt if you go too far and cut too far up on their nail. They do have something called a quick, and you will definitely know if you hit it, it will show some slight bleeding, but there are ways that you can prevent that and make sure you know what you're doing. As for Buck, he is a tricolor, a black tricolor Australian Shepherd, so some of his nails are different colors. He has white and black nails, so just make sure that you're extra careful when it's a little difficult to see that quick, to make sure you aren't going to hit it. All right, so I'm going to trim one of them real quick. All right, then come on, Bucky. All right, now that we have our finished products, we are all good. Buck is feeling much better and ready for the winter. Thank you.